Hello and welcome to Sustainability in the Modern World. I'm Andy Bryan from Hangout Tribes, and this is the third of a four-part series all about sustainability in the modern world. On our third show today, we will be speaking about sustainability and health, and how to live a life of optimal health. What does it take for us to live in a life of optimal health so we feel healthy each and every day, feel vibrant and full of energy? We're going to be talking about that with all of our guests on the panel today, and we have an amazing panel. I'll introduce them briefly in a moment, but what I will do is ask for you to think about how you would answer the questions that we'll be sharing today for yourself. And if you do have any questions for those people that are on the panel, please use the hashtag at the top, Sustainable Change Modern World, SCMW, and we'll be sure to bring up some of the questions so we can answer them live during the Hangout today. So with that in mind, I'm now just going to briefly introduce our guests. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about mindset, and we have Lisa Engels to talk about mindset, and then we're going to be looking at juicing and how juicing can have a huge impact on ourselves and our bodies. And then we're going to talk to Krista Glazer about essential oils, and we're also going to be bringing in Cheryl Juice to talk about how essential oils has affected her life. So I'm really excited to have this conversation today, and we do have an amazing panel. But the panel wouldn't be together without my amazing co-host for the whole series, Tracy Baker. So I'm going to welcome Tracy Baker as well. Tell us a bit more about yourself before we get started.
Hi, Andy. Hi, everybody. Thanks. We were talking in the green room. We all could just share this passion for hours and hours, and I cannot wait to get into it with these fantastic leaders who have just made these little changes in their lives. Maybe they couldn't see where they'd be today when they made the first decisions to start making these changes for their optimum health, and they're going to show us just how easy it is to take these little decisions and make them sustainable so that it's a lifestyle change. And cannot wait to get into it, so I'm just going to dive in. Go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Tracy. So first of all, we're going to be talking about mindset, and I'd like to kick it off with Lisa and talk to her about what do you believe it takes for us to have a mindset for us to live a much more optimal life, to make the changes we can to be more sustainable and make more healthy choices.
Hey Andy, hey there Tracy. It's wonderful to be here with you guys and this wonderful panel today. Oh my gosh, this is such a great topic, sustainability in the modern world. And of course, I know I've had a lot of conversations both with Crystal and Tracy over the last several months about this topic and about we're moving in this direction of sustainability, or a lot of us are. It's that buzzword that's out there. But what do we need first and foremost in order to be sustainable? And that is the mindset that you're talking about, Andy. And what was the question? I forgot already. Sorry.
Okay, so how do we make more sustainable choices in our lives when we think about our health?
Mm-hmm.
Because often it can be difficult to even make health choices because we might look at possibly, let's think about going on a diet, for example, and sometimes without having a clear mindset about what we want to do, sometimes the habits get in the way and we don't make the changes we need to live and have the health that we want in life.
Right, and I think that we need to ask ourselves the question, why don't we make change, even though we might know that it's better for us? Or why don't we make change even though we might have the knowledge? You know, everybody knows that the mind and body are connected. Unless you're living under a rock, you certainly have heard that there's a mind-body connection, for instance. You can know these things but not do anything about them. So the question really first is, why don't we make change? You know, so we need to go to that place first and investigate what is it that's keeping us from creating change in our lives. And we were talking a little bit about this in the green room around excuses, and we come up with a lot of excuses as to why we can't do things, but excuses are really just symptoms of a deeper underlying cause. It's an internal block. It's some type of subconscious resistance to doing it. So I'm sort of giving a high level thing here, and then we can go in whatever direction you want, Andy and Tracy. But what we need to look at in terms of making these sustainable changes is first what's blocking us from actually doing what we need to do, even though we have all the information. Where's our block? So that has to be really the first step in this entire process. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And to carry the conversation, what do you suggest for us, Lisa? I'm a huge proponent of pro and con list. God bless my mother. She taught me how to do that at a very young age. Do we sit down and say, I'm not living under a rock. I know my body and my mind are connected. I want to make these changes and really have a conversation with ourselves. What are my blocks? The ones I hear all the time in my Healthy You community is no time, no money, I can't cook, I have to buy the packaged meals. All of these things, once we've realized our blocks.
That's not a block, though. Those aren't blocks. Those are excuses. Those are symptoms of a deeper underlying block. Those are actually not the blocks. Those are the symptoms. So what we need to do is identify what's underneath those excuses of no time, no money, I don't know how to cook, I can't get out and exercise because I have 3 kids, and whatever it is. So sorry, I cut you off there. But
no, that's perfect. So take us deeper. What is the difference between what's blocking me from doing this and what excuses is keeping me from doing this? How do we cross that barrier of block?
Right. So when you look at the symptoms, then you have to look at, like, is the direction I was going, is what is the underlying belief or the thoughts that are fueling that excuse. And usually, so I go through a whole line of inquiry with my clients when we get to this point, but usually there's just a handful of different reasons that are the deep underlying causes of these excuses. One is, this is a part of my identity. I've been overweight for my entire life. I was called chubby cheeks since I was 5 years old, and now I'm 45 years old. Who would I be if I wasn't still chubby cheeks or whatever? So sometimes there's an identity issue around it. If I were to lose that identity, the ego doesn't have anything to attach to. So there can be an ego identity crisis there. There can be a safety issue. Oftentimes it doesn't feel safe to change. There's some type of safety issue around it. It's just not safe. I'm not worthy and deserving of changing and what doing this will actually mean for me in the results in my life. Or I'm afraid to fail, or I'm afraid to succeed, or you hear that one a lot, the fear of failure, the fear of success. So those are just some of the really common deep underlying blocks, and of course then you have to work with those and really work with a line of inquiry. There's all different types of things. I use energy psychology, I use tapping, EFT, NLP, all of those things, inquiry, to break through those deep underlying beliefs that are supporting the excuse, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I can't cook, I don't know how, or whatever the excuses might be.
So I understand sort of the mindset type of thing in terms of how our choices affect us, but I was thinking as well about how does our mindset truly affect our health. I know sometimes it's our emotions that can make us feel down which can affect our whole energy system. So how else would you say that our mind actually affects our health on that level?
Well, what we know without a doubt is that mind and body are inseparable and interdependent. You can read that anywhere too, unless you've been living under a rock for the last 10 years. You go read Yoga Magazine, Self Magazine, like every single magazine you read has some section of the magazine that's dedicated to mind body. And this studies and everything, you can find them. They're easy to find. The mind and body are inseparable and interdependent. And so the mind affects, it's not the opposite way around where it's the body and then the mind, then you get depressed or whatever. It's the mind first and then the body. So so your question is, clarify your question for me once again.
I guess it's how does our mind truly affect our body? And when I thought about like what you said as well, like it starts with the mind and then it affects our body, and like it's our biochemistry that happens when we have certain thoughts within our body, within our mind, that trigger certain feelings within our body, or trigger certain chemicals within our body. But how would you say our health our mind helps us with our health, you know?
Well, yeah, and you make a point there that it can work either way, right? Our thoughts can lead to illness and dis-ease or to health and well-being. It's a process, though, because what most people or a lot of people don't know or don't understand is that what you might be experiencing in your body right now is actually the result of thoughts and emotions that you carried with you from months ago, if not even years ago. And sometimes those symptoms, the physical symptoms, don't even show up in your body for 6 months to 2 years later. It can be a long time. So when we're looking at the body and the health effects that are happening in the body, if we're talking about illness and disease or disease, then what we actually want to do is look at what was going on in our life 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and sort of look at the connection between what was going on there, the thoughts. Usually you can find a significant event that then triggered something that then is now manifesting in the body, and the way back to creating a sustainable, healthy body is, again, it sounds so much easier when I just say to change your thoughts, change your mind, or change your body, right? Again, it's something that's thrown out there. Change your mind, change your world. It's not as easy as that. It is and it isn't, because it takes practice. And of course, I have this whole thing about the power of practice. It takes a consistent practice, a daily practice, and commitment to that practice to begin to shift those symptoms, both in your life, whether they're the excuses and or in your body, whether it's, you know, a chronic pain or injury or disease.
Definitely, like you said, go to the cause of that problem, find out what the cause, where it started first, so then we can work from there to find a solution, rather than looking elsewhere for what might be a quick fix, for example.
And I will say this is not easy to do alone. It's actually almost impossible to do alone, because we have our own blind spots. So if you're looking for something and you're in it, you're not going to be able to see it. So it does require the help of a professional, of a coach, of someone else who's experienced, who's a professional, who can help you and guide you through a process to see those aspects of yourself that you're not even aware of. So that's why I'm such an advocate for everybody to have coaches in all areas of your life, because whether it's your health and well-being or your business or your relationships, when you're in it, you don't see your own blind spots, and that's what a coach can help you do.
Definitely, it's all about working together. I love I love that aspect of creating change, because I don't think we can create change by ourselves, like you said. No matter what area of life it's in, we all need support here and there. I know Tracy's got a question, so I'll pass it over to Tracy to bring that up.
Hi, everybody. This is a perfect transition to get into the intestines. Sorry, Crystal. Also, it's from Heidi. Also, the body influences our mind. For instance, when the intestines don't work well, it influences our mood. We are so used to think that it's only mind that influences the body. Yay, Lisa Ingalls. And like I said, perfect transition into juicing and cleansing and how we can get those clear, clean toxins out of our body and start thinking clearly and being clearly. So, Andy, I'll let you ask. I think you've got a question or two for Miss Crystal.
Yeah, I mean, I've found out about juicing quite some time ago, but I only became more and more interested in it from listening to Crystal and Artemis as well. So it's a real pleasure to have Crystal on the show today to talk about juicing. But one of my first questions was, what's the magic behind juicing? Why is juicing so effective?
I love it, Andy. Start with a really simple, easy question, one that's so easy to answer. Okay, actually, there are some very simple answers, but I first want to thank you for inviting me to the show, and Tracy, thank you for doing such a stellar job. And Lisa, thank you for speaking my language. I mean, everything you're saying is so on target and so on track, and is exactly, well, I'm sure Tracy's going to ask me some similar questions about juicing, so I'll save it. So what's the magic behind juicing? Wow, there's lots of magic behind juicing, and really it's the same. It's not just juicing, it's juicing and really eating well, and really even more than that, like Lisa's talking about, you know, is it an excuse or is it a block, or is it a block? You know, the juicing, eating well, you know, smoothies, those are all, you know, sort of the tools or the symptoms that show you have a deeper commitment to yourself, you know, to really feeling good and looking healthy and having great energy and clear skin and, you know, looking in the mirror and being happy with what you see. So the magic of juicing is that it works from the inside out over a period of time, and is an instant infusion of nutrition, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, you know, nutrients, and energy straight into your cells. So, I mean, that's just, I'll give you a nice general answer like that. How's that for you, Andy?
That's a perfect intro, actually. So fantastic, and it transitions very nicely into the second question, which was all about the science, really. So, how does it really work? What's the science behind it? Because, like you said, it's not as simple as just eating fruit and vegetables, but it's more so drinking. So how does the drinking aspect help you more so than generally eating? You know?
Well, when you're juicing, okay, so imagine sitting down to a gigantic bowl of salad, right? So you have some greens and you have some tomatoes, and, you know, maybe in a big ginormous bowl of salad you have, you know, half of a tomato, a carrot, you know, some spinach, maybe some lettuce. Compare that to the amount of vegetables you put in 1 glass of juice. So 1 glass of juice may have, you know, multiple carrots, lots of spinach. But you can pack so many more nutrients into a glass of juice. So the science of juicing really is you get a lot more, we call it nutrient saturation, where I'm not just feeding myself good food, I am flooding myself with really life-giving, nourishing nutrients. And what that does is it not only fills any, let's say, deficiencies, like nutritional deficiencies I may have had with nutrients or enzymes, it also puts me in a position to where I'm balancing my pH levels so that I can now let go of excess acidic toxins. So the science is, right, you have acids, You have bases, remember that basic chemistry thing? And in order to neutralize the acid, you have to add a base to it, or else it's going to, basically if you look at acids coming out of our tissues are pretty delicate. And if I have acids running through my skin, through my veins, that's a problem. My body's not going to have that, right? So my body is very, very brilliant at putting, and your body is too, by the way, at making sure that the toxins are out of your bloodstream so that they're not, if your blood pH gets to a certain level of acidity, you're done. Like, that's the end of your life. Your body can only handle so much fluctuation in your blood in that acid-alkaline level. So the juice comes in and helps you alkalize some of those excess toxins so you can let them go. Otherwise, they're stuck in your peripheral tissues because your body won't let them out because it's not good for you. It's going to cause you harm or pain or something like that, depending on where your either genetic weaknesses are, or even more to the point, like Lisa was saying, where your energetic weaknesses are.
Fantastic. And yikes.
I know, and I'm seeing some great...
my mind is going...
I'm seeing some great comments in the stream, too, and I'm like, oh, okay, go ahead.
I know. And before we move on to blocks and excuses, because now I'm never going to use the word just excuse anymore, because we got to get under the excuse and find the block. Andy, is that Tanya's comment you have up?
Yeah, I can bring that up now if you like. I thought you might want to.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to do it too. So bring up Tanya's.
Okay. So Tanya was just saying I've switched to the NutriBullet, and it's great for juicing. I love it. Very clean, very easy to clean, and delicious. I now exercise daily, eat salads, and have a smoothie each day, feeling like $1,000,000. That's great. Pass you back to you, Betty.
Yeah, that's awesome, Tanya. I mean, you're doing a great job with the NutriBullet, and I know, if I remember correctly, Tracy has a NutriBullet too. And your NutriBullet makes great smoothies. Now, smoothies are different than juicing. So your NutriBullet is making great smoothies, which have their own benefits as well. I mean, you'll notice now on my screen I have, juicing images and smoothie images too. So I love them both. But do realize they're different, right? So smoothies, you put everything in a blender, or basically in one container. The blades blended up together, so you have all kinds of like fiber and the whole food all in one place. So smoothies are fantastic as a meal replacement. And then juice, because the big fiber is taken out and you're left with the minerals, the vitamins, the enzymes, the sort of pure nutrients, so to speak, without the fiber, that's what gives you the instant infusion into your cells. So I will often start my day with a juice and then have a smoothie for either for breakfast or later in the day as a snack.
That's fantastic. And it's Lisa brought up a fantastic point of don't do this stuff by yourself when you're starting, but also don't make hiring a coach an excuse or a block, but find someone to walk you through the process, because I do this healthy body thing once a month, and we always start the show off, we're not doctors. Before you do something major and crazy, find some and make sure you're okay to start this. But the science behind having the pure juice in the morning, and that initial infusion of all of those nutrients, does that, because it's first thing in the morning, does it absorb better? Does it react better in your body?
It does absorb better because you don't have other things in your system, but the main reason I drink juice first thing in the morning is because at nighttime when you're sleeping is when your body's doing a really good job of cleansing, because you're not awake paying attention to other things and expending energy for other things, so your body can really cleanse and let go of some things while you sleep. In the morning, which basically, usually for a lot of people, that means you wake up and you have more acids in your system because that's what your body has let go of. So when I juice, I flood my system with more alkalizing nutrients to help flush those acids out and give them a place to go so they don't end up back trapped in my body again. So I also notice when I do, I mean, here, I'll put this in really good, like, simple terms that I love. When I wake up in the morning and I have a glass of juice, if I had puffy eyes, they go away. I have more energy. It's become what most people think of as, the reason they drink coffee is because it gives them more energy and, a little kick. That's what juice does for me, except there's no crash. I just feel good until it's time to eat again.
That's fantastic. And my question was supposed to be excuses and blockage. I know for me why I use a NutriBullet and not a slow juice, I know you're a proponent of the slow juice systems, is I live off the grid. So power-wise, I have to put a system in place that my power source will be able to handle. And the NutriBullet just fits right into my lifestyle and how I live. But what are some of the other excuses that we can get underneath to the blockage for when you start working with new people in regards to juicing? I know you've been on my show. You have a fantastic blockage story that you overcame to start doing this, and now look at you. So what are some of the excuses we can break and the blockages we can break?
Well, my first one was judgment. So my first one was, I don't know about that juicing thing. People who juice, they're a bunch of hippie granola weirdos, and I don't want to be like that. So that was my first one. And now look at my hippie granola self. All right, and then but what I hear a lot from people is it takes too much time, it's too hard. Like, really, most of the excuses I hear from people are just a factor of not having done it yet, and not, just not getting into the established routine of doing it, not knowing that you can make at one time, if you have a slow speed masticating juicer, and they're called slow speed because of the RPMs of the motor, not because it takes you longer to juice, just so you know. But if you have a slow speed masticating juicer, you can make a gallon of juice at a time, and that juice will last and still be vibrant in your refrigerator for 3 days. So not only do you not have to juice every day, if you have a high-speed juicer, you end up juicing every day and multiple times a day if you're going to drink more than 1 glass of juice. So you get the right kind of juicer that allows you to juice lots at once, and then that whole excuse of, well, it takes too long is pretty much gone. And then it's amazing how much easier those juicers are to clean as well, and that's when I hear a lot, well, cleanup is so hard. Well, yeah, it's a pain in the butt if you're going to clean up 3 times a day from juicing, but if you're going to clean up once every 3 days, that's a whole different story.
That's a fantastic one, because I would imagine that you're right, and I don't live in the world, but I know the people I talk to, they're like, I don't have time for that, I can't do that, it's too messy. So fantastic. And obviously there's a system that works for you. If you can only juice every 3 days, it makes it so much easier. Find the right piece of equipment that fits into your life. And now that we're on our mindset, we've looked at our excuses, we found our blockages, we're going to start taking all of these toxins out of our body. Now we're going to get to be able to talk to Krista about using essential oils. I know, knock on wood somewhere, wherever wood is, I am blessed with the fact that it's been 6 years since I've had to take an antibiotic, and do not participate in over-the-counter drugs. There is an oil or an herb that can do whatever I need it to do for me. I use a lot of chili oil if I have sore muscles and things like that. So Krista is going to take us through all the uses she does for essential oils, so maybe we can stop putting so many toxins in our bodies. So Krista, big picture, what are essential oils?
So first of all, I thank you so much for inviting me to be here today, and following Crystal and Lisa. I mean, goodness, I hope I can live up to the to what you guys have left in front. Essential oils are essences of the plants. They are the protectors on the plants that that help the plants to be healthy. They are very, very concentrated. They're very powerful. They can do so many things. So when you asked earlier, what do I can share what I use them for, it would probably be faster for me to tell you what I don't use them for. So literally everything, absolutely everything. So to give you just kind of a brief overview, I cook with them. I use them as my medicine. I use them as in my body care products. I use them to clean my home. Everything. So pretty much everything that you can think of in just a day-to-day sort of a lifestyle, you can use an essential oil for.
So I've got a headache. I can go to my medicine cabinet and pick up an essential oil?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and so just to kind of give you sort of a brief overview, there's a right and a wrong way to use the oils. So because I use very powerful oils, we use doTERRA. There are a lot of other very powerful oils on the market. Very, very good quality is definitely important. Not all oils are created equally. So, you know, an oil from the health food store may not be as powerful as something else simply because they might be diluted for you already. These ones are not. So one drop will go a very, very long way. So common sense kind of comes into play here. We have the ability to dilute them ourselves, which makes it really nice because then, you know, we can create our own blends. If we're sensitive, if we've got sensitive skin, you know, we're definitely going to want to dilute them. If we're using them on small children or babies, we're definitely going to want to dilute. And when I say dilute, I mean getting a carrier oil and mixing it together with that. When we add water to it, it actually intensifies the oils. So we don't dilute with water. Just always keep in mind that oil and water don't mix. So for a headache, my go-to is peppermint. I like frankincense for my anti-inflammatory. I'll rub just a little bit of it on my temples, across my forehead, maybe the back of my neck or at the base of my skull. If I have a really, really bad headache and the peppermint doesn't quite do it for me, frankincense, lavender, white fir, there's so many to choose from. And I can layer them on until I have relief, and it's usually within just a few minutes. I even have friends that get migraines, and they'll take a drop of frankincense and put it to the roof of their mouth, and within just a little while, the pain is gone. So there's just so many different opportunities and ways that you can use them.
No, I love that, and I'm actually, I'll be honest with you, I don't know a huge amount about essential oils, and I heard they're absolutely fantastic for many years. So what would you say is a good place to start with using them? You say?
I think that for me, and I think for a lot of people, starting with just picking one thing in your life that you want to change. And I think that it goes along with what these guys have started with talking about already is choosing one thing. So, you know, Tracy mentioned headaches. If that's the first thing that you want to start with, then learning a little bit about, you know, the different oils that might benefit you for that one thing, and then what you'll discover is that even though, you know, peppermint is my go-to for headaches, you start to find out that it's also good for cooling, it's good for pain relief of other kinds, it's good for flavoring food. And so pretty soon your knowledge starts to grow and grow, and then you start picking a second thing. And, you know, taking bite-sized pieces and small bits at a time are usually the easiest, because it can be overwhelming. There's so much information out there.
Definitely. Well, thanks for sharing that. We have Cheryl Juice on the panel as well, and I know she has an amazing story about how essential oils has helped her within her life, and I haven't heard this story yet, so I'd love to hear how essential oils has changed your life and your world for the better.
Oh my gosh. So, wow, I can't even believe I'm on this panel with Lisa, Crystal, and Cresta. My story with essential oils started with my son, who was only 9 months old when he got RSV. And so I have been battling his breathing. He doesn't have typical asthma. his lungs don't react to barometric pressure the way they're supposed to. When the barometric pressure changes, when a storm comes in, your lungs expand or decrease their expansion, and he has lost some of his elasticity. And so for years and years and years, my son would miss 5, 6, 7, sometimes 7 weeks of school every school year, every time a storm hit. And the normal asthma treatments didn't work. And a couple of years ago, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law had gotten into essential oils, and they brought me a bottle of what's called Breathe. I can't tell you exactly what oils are in Breathe. It's a blend that doTERRA has. But I started using it with my son, and he would just rub one drop on his hands and breathe it in every morning. And that year, he missed 1 week of school in total. The next year, he missed no school because of his breathing. And every day, I just put a little bit in a mister, and he uses Breathe. And because of that, we started looking into some other things, because I've got some history of bipolar disease in my family with my kids, with their father. And we started using orange citrus blends in the morning for mood. And my whole house got a lot happier. And naturally, I have been a big proponent of finding the most natural and solution I can to any problem that I have. And yes, I work in the medical field. My father was a doctor. I don't hate Western medicine, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm also a proponent of finding the healthiest way that you can do something. And sometimes putting a chemical in your body isn't the healthiest way. So I did have a daughter who was on 4 different medications. And through different treatments, some biofeedback therapy, a lot of cognitive therapy, and a lot of oil therapies, different scents that work for her. Lavender is really, really good for her. In calming her down, we've been able to get her medication free and functioning and living on her own. Just dropped her off at college yesterday, and doing well. And like Krista said, it just started with, I've got this issue, and my biggest thing for all of my kids is I wanted to maintain their personalities. I didn't want to give them things that altered their personalities. And even someone who takes ibuprofen, which some people think is a little benign, starts to alter who you are, because, just like caffeine and all of that, if you don't get it, you start to feel altered in who you are. And like Crystal said, she makes it clear to the next meal without losing that buzz that the chemicals give you. So that's my biggest thing, is my son's able to be active. Now he's broken his hand, so he's not as active as before, but it's not his lungs.
Well, I was going to ask you if you were going to go into your storage of oils to get some of that pain to go away, because, yeah, I don't know. I'm a Harry Potter fan. I don't think there's a Skele-Gro essential oil yet, so there might be. Who knows? But
there's not a Skele-Gro essential oil, but he has not taken any pain pills whatsoever for his broken hand. We've just used some peppermint and done some breathing. I put peppermint in a diffuser last night for in his room, and he has not had to take a single pain pill for his broken hand.
That's fantastic. So, I don't know if you use the essential oils as kind of big picture as Cresta does, but I know she makes her own cleaning products with it to take those toxins out of out of her household and out of her environment. So, Cresta, can you give us a little bit of an overview on how these products can not only for ourselves, individual healthy body, but also help our environment and in cleaning up? You guys all know I'm still a lover of bleach, and I'm trying to cure myself of that. But I don't use soft scrub anymore, and I don't use any of the other stuff. because I'm starting to, with your inspiration, make my own cleaning things. So tell us a little bit about how well they work, these oils.
Well, I wanted to touch on the fact that that Crystal had mentioned, the whole acid alkaline thing. You know, for me, that's really kind of where this all came into, and it's you know, when you start really researching health and wellness, and you know what some of these cleaners can do to our bodies, you know, and that they're causing some acidic activity, where you know the necessity for more juicing and more healthy eating becomes required because of you know some of the toxins that we are exposed to in our daily life. I started really looking into this, and then plus I've got kids and pets, and so you know having the Cloroxes and things like that around was definitely something that I wanted to try and get away from. So mostly just for their health. And so, you know, it just started with just little things. You know, I make my own soft scrub. I make my own laundry detergent. I make my own window cleaner, floor cleaner. I mean, I make my own, like the little powder that you sprinkle on your carpets. I make my own of that. And so it's just little things like that that, you know, one step at a time. You know, it's not something that anyone would very feasibly be able to go in and wipe out all of the yucky stuff out of your house and replace it with homemade. You know, it's just, it was literally over the course of several years that we just started changing out some of the things that we were using before. And so, you know, for you, Tracy, I'm just going to tell you, you know, Clorox vinegar, it could easily replace your Clorox. You can put some On Guard in it for your antibacterial effects, Melaleuca, even lemon, just plain lemon oil, and you'll get the same antibacterial and the germ-fighting powers that you're wanting, and still have a nice smelling thing left behind. I don't know. There are a lot of people that really like the smell of bleach. I'm not one of them, unfortunately, but you know, it's just a matter of starting with one small thing and then moving to the next. So
I'll have to take Lisa's advice from the beginning of this and look at my excuse and the blockage that comes under it, and be able to throw my bleach away and put a couple of drops into something, and I don't know, get your recipe for your general cleaning. So, Andy, what's next for us, sir?
Well, what I was going to say is we've brought together this show to talk about optimal health and how we can live a healthy life. And we brought together 3 subjects like mindset, juicing, and essential oils. But I'm sure there's so much more out there that we can think about in terms of living a natural and healthy life. So my question to everybody on the panel now is, and I'll go through the questions one at a time so you can all answer them, would be, what other natural health solutions would you recommend if there's any others out there that really do stand out for you? And I will pass over to, who should we go first? Lisa, as she hasn't spoken for a while. I'll go back to Lisa.
Well, oh my gosh, natural health solutions. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I think where we started today was a really good, I mean, my life revolves around eating and movement and my deep inner work. So those are, you know, the 3 areas of practice that I base my life off of. So I think we covered, you know, at least 2/3 of that here today. The other practice in terms of health and sustainability, of course, is some type of, for me, I believe, the moving in your body, and it doesn't have to be that you're going to the gym and getting on a treadmill. It can be gardening and getting your hands in the earth and walking on earth with your feet and doing grounding with your feet. I mean, there's so many amazing ways we can connect through our body with the earth that include movement that's so nourishing to our body. Dance, hiking, whatever. I believe that movement needs to be a regular part of keeping our health sustainable, of being here for our planet in many ways. So that would be the one that I would add into the mix.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Exercise is definitely the key, and I need to do more of that. I haven't done a huge amount of exercise for a while, I'll be honest.
And I call it movement. I call it movement because, Andy, people have blocks around exercise and their ideas that exercise is work. And so I always like to call it a movement practice. It reframes it in a way that's a little more palatable to some people. If you like exercise, you like that hard thing, okay, go with that. But to reframe it for people, make it a movement practice.
And it's interesting because I mean, we can do some small movements that can exert a lot of energy at times.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But yeah, it's good to pick up on that because that obviously comes back to mindset, which you were speaking at the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pass it over to Crystal now anyway to share some more light on this situation.
Well, I'm going to jump in on this. This is a great conversation, and I'm going to jump in, Andy, because you just said small movements that create a lot of momentum or a lot of outcome. And one of my favorite exercises is rebounding or jumping on a mini trampoline. So it's very simple. I'm standing in place and bouncing, listening to music usually, or some really good motivational audio. Another form of exercise I just found is called T-tap, and some ladies may have heard of it, but I am surprised at how well this woman, Teresa Tapp, structured her movement program so that it's accessible to anyone, and here's what I'll say about movement. Go find something that speaks to you, that you love, and do that. And I can say the same thing about food. Go find something that speaks to you, that you love, that feels good, not just in the while you're eating it moment, but in the 2 hours after that, and in the days and weeks after that. Find, you pretty much say that for every aspect, every healing modality, everything you do, any meditation practice, we grow, we change, we evolve. So what feels really good to me right now today, it might be something, tomorrow or next week or next month, and that doesn't mean that what I'm doing today is bad or wrong. It means I've moved into a new expression, and it's time to do things differently. Lisa loves running. I mean, loves running like no one I've ever seen. It's really amazing. And I'm like, I can't, running doesn't work for me. I don't know what it is. Well, maybe it's because I'm pregnant right now. That's just not happening. But, I admire Lisa's, I admire how much she loves running. I admire her passion. I admire her commitment and her practice. And so you can have practice with anything, any form of movement, any commitment to eating, anything you do in your life. So I love your whole idea of practice, Lisa. It's spot on.
Well, thanks again, Crystal.
You're welcome.
That's fantastic. I'll hand it over to Questa as well. What other things would you recommend as something that we can do in order to live an optimal and healthy life?
I definitely have to echo all of what these guys have already stated, and as I was kind of waiting for my turn, and I thought, well, I'd talk about diet or food because it's so important, but then everybody says that. But I think one thing that maybe I'll add that I think we probably all feel and think, but maybe just didn't mention is loving ourselves, thinking about taking the time to do things that are cherishing to our bodies, which I believe all of this really is. We get to a point where we want to do better for ourselves in the form of our diets and in the form of our mindset and in the form of whatever else we choose to implement, and it's all a big picture part of it. It's just each little thing is just a small little section of it. So taking time for ourselves every day, even if it's just 5 minutes to just be alone and just unwind, think, and not stress. Try to make time to not stress is something that that I try to do on a very regular basis. And I think that as I get into more of the practice of that, I notice so many more other people that I deal with on a daily basis that don't. And then I find myself wanting to help them, coach them, try to bring them to a place where they can find the time to, care about themselves more. So I guess that'd be my suggestion.
Again, it's something that I love. It's stress plays a huge part on our whole emotional side of our bodies, and taking some time out for ourselves, because if we don't take time out for ourselves, then we truly can't help and be the best that we can for those people around us as well at the same time. And I will ask Cheryl the same question. How about yourself, Cheryl?
Geez, what do you add to these three ladies? Kind of along the same lines of what Krista said. The word that came to my mind was just spirituality, and I don't mean going to church or anything like that, but getting in touch with the spirit that is you. Knowing who you are, not just loving who you are, but knowing who you are. Because when you know who you are and what you want and what your core values are, I know that's kind of a buzzword around town right now, but knowing that core value and getting in touch with your spiritual self, whether you find it hiking in the mountains, or whether you find it in church, or whether you find it just being with your family. Working on the spirit that is you. I know that Crystal, I think it was Crystal I heard, went on quite a spiritual journey, finding who she is, and I think when you do that and you get in touch with who you are and what you want, then all of these things that you do, your exercise, your eating right, your using natural things, can take effect. I saw someone say and I think it was Lisa, some of the mind block to these things not working is just the belief that they won't work, or that you don't deserve them to work. And I think when you get in touch with your spirit and who you are, then these things matter, and they do make a difference.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'll ask Tracy as well, if there's anything you wanted to add to all of those amazing answers there from our panel.
I making the healthy choices. Lisa, taking the word and changing from exercise to movement. I hear it all the time in my business. Oh, that's just semantics. But it's not semantics. It's a mindset. And if we can say, I'm going to go out and move today, as opposed to I'm going to go out and work out, that might help motivate us. Fantastic. And being able to take care of ourselves. How many of us, and sorry, Andy, and all the wonderful men out there in the audience, but we women often think that self-care is selfish, and we don't take time to care for ourselves because we are caring for everybody in our lives. And that was a fantastic point and a wonderful mindset to be able to know that we do matter. We do matter to each other. If we're not healthy for our families, then we're not going to be able to take care of them any more than we can take care of ourselves. And I don't know if Cheryl's going to be mad at me for this or not, but I just have to, she's embarrassed already, I just have to brag about her, that she's not going to bring it up, but she had a post a couple of days ago, so it's public knowledge. It's not like I'm outing her or anything, but she took something off her bucket list. And it's a major accomplishment and a major mindset shift and a major dedication to reaching a goal for herself. And it was to run a little race. And Cheryl, can you just talk to us for a few minutes about why you chose it how that worked into your life. It was so inspiring to have you put that post out there. I'm so proud of you for what you did.
You know, geez. So last year I started running, and I ran about 4 or 5 5Ks. And so this year I kind of set the goal to do a half marathon. And I last weekend ran the Park City Half Marathon. Running would be a very huge stretch of the imagination of what went down there, but I finished it. And someone asked me, what emotion I had going over the finish line, and I don't even know if I can pick one emotion. As you're going through that process, and I had 4 friends that did it with me, cheered me on the entire way, stayed with me the entire way. Wow, I don't know. It was just one of those things that you just keep telling yourself, keep putting one foot in front of the other, just keep moving forward. And what a life lesson, with anything that you want to do. Just take that little step and keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward, and you can do anything. You can move mountains.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that with us. I just am so proud. I've never done a half marathon. I wanted to be a marathon runner when I was a youngster, and some injuries. I did my first one when I was 14, and then did another one at 16, and then never did another one because of some injuries. So I'm so very proud of you, Cheryl, and I'm just so proud. I wanted to get that live and on air and see your sparkle as you talked about that accomplishment, because it has to do with making these daily decisions, making these sustainable change decisions leading up to running it and then actually getting through it. So I just wanted to put that on air, and that was my closing, Andy, was to get Cheryl's story on air.
Again, congratulations, Cheryl. That is an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you.
I've never been a big runner. I used to absolutely enjoy exercise. I will say exercise for a moment, and now I do think I need to think about it like movement as well. So it's amazing what you can accomplish sometimes when we think about things in a slightly different way than what we might have done before. So very interesting. And it's coming to the end of our show, and I would like to probably chat for another couple of hours about this because it's such a great subject. But sadly, we only have an hour on the show. So what I'm going to do is pass it back to everybody on the panel to provide a call to action, and to also maybe say a statement about what it does take for each one of us to live a life of optimal health. And again, I'll pass it back to Lisa.
Well, thank you, Andy and Tracy, for having me here today. It's been wonderful, so wonderful to be on this panel and to hear all of the amazing brilliance coming out of this panel as well. And it was great to be in the chat. So here's what I want to leave everybody with, and it's what I start out my show, The Power of Practice, with, because I just believe this at the core of my being, that it's not about doing certain things that will create sustainable change in our life, in our body, in our health, in our wealth, in our happiness, or anything. It's about doing things in a certain way, and doing that requires practice. So that's what I'm leaving with my ending thought here for this show. And anybody who wants to get a hold of me can find me at interstatecoaching.com, and I have a free report there on a 5-step practice to creating radical change in your life. So that's it for me. Thanks you guys so much for having me here. It's been wonderful.
Well, thank you, Lisa. And I will pass it over to Crystal now.
Awesome. I'm having so much fun today. Thank you for this show. This panel is just, I love being with everybody, with all the ladies, and you, Andy, too. Like, you're pretty blessed, by the way, with this panel of ladies. Anyway, excuse me. So to really, what does it take? You asked, what does it take to really truly affect change in our lives? At least that's how I interpreted what you asked. I hope I'm on track there. Deep honesty and priorities. And honesty with myself, and that goes back to what Lisa was saying at the very beginning of the show. Is this an excuse, or is there something beneath this? What's deeper than what's coming out of my mouth and thought stream right now? What's under this? So deep honesty to discover what's actually happening. And then priority, because once I discover what's happening, I can go, wow, well, is this something I choose to continue have happen in my life? No, now I'm ready to make this priority. Now that I understand what's going on, I'm ready to make me, like Krista said, and like Cheryl said, loving myself and putting myself first, making myself my priority. That's why I said I love this panel. Everybody's just speaking the same language and sharing all these amazing things that work so well together. You can find me on Google+, Crystal Cassane, and you can also find our juicing program at juicingforfatloss.tv, and our blending program is coming up soon at blendingforbeauty.com. Both of those sites have free reports, so you can get 2 free reports from me today. And enjoy them both. They're fun creating.
Excellent. Thanks for that as well. Fantastic. Again, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show again. And I'll pass it over to Krista now to share.
I'll leave you all with one call to action, and I think that really it is just to take action. Going along what these ladies have said, I know that I spend an awful lot of time researching and learning about different things, but sometimes that's where it ends, and it's not, it doesn't ever come to fruition. So I will challenge all of you to take action, make your choices, do your research, and be a doer to start some of these sustainability procedures, and so if you would like, you can find me on Google+. My website's there, embracingtheflipside.com, or you can email me at embracingtheflipside@gmail.com. And I would love to visit with anyone more about essential oils and just anything, really. So feel free to contact me and we can chat more.
Well, thank you again, Krista. Again, it's been a pleasure. I will pass it over to Cheryl Juice now to tell us a bit more about herself and where we can find out more about you as well.
I don't know what else to tell. You won't get a report from me. I don't have a report for anybody. I could make one up. Just tell me what you want it to be about. I'm on Google+. I'm just here having fun. I post a lot about bacon, but I confessed to Tracy the other day, I haven't had bacon for probably 2 months. But it is Bacon Month, so I'm celebrating Bacon Month. I just like to have fun. I like to laugh. I like to learn new things, and so if you're into that, come find me. We'll chat. But my call to action to everybody would be just take that first step. If you don't move, if you don't exercise, if you don't get out, go for a walk around the block and just keep adding. If you want to try some essential oils, figure out, like Krista said, what is it you want to fix, and give it a shot. Try juicing. I did a cleanse last November, almost a year ago. Best thing ever I ever did, a big juicing cleanse. Just try it. Give it a try. See what works for you. Find what works for you and do it. Just do it. That's my call to action.
Excellent. Thank you, Cheryl. Again, it's been a real pleasure, and thanks for sharing your story as well. It's been really inspiring and touching story as well. So thanks for sharing that. And I will pass it over to Tracy now to share a bit more as well.
Oh my gosh. I think we all just nailed it. Find out what works for you and go do it. Find out what's blocking you, what's keeping you back, what is your excuses and why do you have them, and how we can be healthier and cure some really life-altering things by looking at an alternative medicine. Not to say anything bad against Western medicine. You make the choice that is right for you, like Cheryl just said. But there are ways out there for us to seek alternatives, and we can just start by taking the first step. Fantastic show, Andy. I loved it. What about your call to action?
Okay, so my call to action is very similar to some of the other people, which is more so what Tracy said actually there, which for me, we started off mindset today because in order to have a healthy body or a healthy mind, it starts with an open mind, I believe. An open mind provides us with open choices, more opportunities, and just look for possible alternatives, and again make a decision that's right for you, because there are many amazing things out there that can really help you to live a life of optimal health. And something I'm really passionate about is natural health, and it's been a pleasure to speak to all the ladies on the panel about this today, and really start to think about how we can be more sustainable with it as well. So it's been a real privilege. So that was my call to action. What I did want to say as well, though, is thank you to everybody on the panel. It's been a real privilege today to speak with you all and discuss different areas of living a life of optimal health. I also wanted to say thanks to Tracy for, again, helping me out on the show. It's been incredible, and you've been a great co-host. And I also wanted to mention Tara Louise Harding, who's been helping me out with the shows as well, marketing them, getting them out there on Facebook and online, and really spreading the message about sustainability in the modern world and how we can live a much more sustainable life. And sadly, our last show is next week. And our last show, if you bear with me a moment, I'll bring up the information. That's a real shame. I didn't upload the new promotion, and I thought I did. I mustn't have saved it. That's a real shame. Anyway, I'll tell you a bit more about the new show before we go. Our show on the same time next week is all about sustainability in your home, and this is all about outside your home as well as inside your home. So if you did want to tune into that, please, we will send invites out again, and we look forward to sharing that with you. We will have a panel of 4 more guests, and it will be the last show of the series, so we might have a few surprises up our sleeves. But thanks again for all listening, and I will see you all next week. Say bye for now.